unless you feel I need to. Good morning, and thank you for coming this morning. Before announcing Barb as the CEO of the YBI, I think it's important to recognize those that were actively engaged in this transition. First, I'd like to recognize the YBI Board of Directors, and especially the Executive Committee for their efforts this past year. Leadership transitions can be difficult, but this group's dedication and focus is ensuring a smooth transition. I'd also be remiss if I did not take this time to recognize the efforts of Jim Cossler and the YBI team. Jim's leadership for nearly 2 decades has produced 5-fold growth, from a $500,000 organization with 2 employees in 1 building to a $2.5 million organization with over 10 employees, with the impending opening of their 5th building on campus. Add on to that the top ranking in the world for university-affiliated business incubators, and you have a list of quite impressive accomplishments. As Jim has said to me several times during this transition, this is my baby. It sure is, Jim, and you have raised your baby into a fine adult. We look forward to your continued tenure with the YBI as the Huntington Bank Entrepreneur in Residence and continuing as the organization's chief evangelist. Now it is Barb's turn to take the YBI to the next level. Barb's fingerprints are all over the YBI's organizational growth. In just 6 years, Barb has developed vast experience in overall incubator operations. She played a pivotal role in bringing America Makes to the YBI in the recent formation of Valley Growth Ventures. Barb fully recognizes the potential value of additive manufacturing to not only the YBI, but the entire Valley. She is forging a path where few have trodden. It is this type of calculated risk-taking that makes her the ideal successor to lead the organization in the next phase of its development. This being said, please join me in congratulating Barb Ewing as the CEO of the Youngstown Business Incubator.
All right, I'm going to do this speech in a little different order because things change, and so forgive me if this is a little scrambled. Let me start by thanking you all for being here today, for coming. I am so very honored, and this is all a little overwhelming, so please bear with me as I go through this transition. I'd like to first off thank Jim Cossler for shepherding us through this process. As he said, transitions are difficult, they're hard conversations, and while we have a great organization and a great team, there are just always challenges that you have to sort through. I'd like to thank all of our board members, including Evan Morrison, who's here with us today, for their support for me, for their confidence, and for everything that they do for this organization. We are a better organization because of the strength of the board that we have, and your involvement in our activities is really crucial to our success. I also dearly need to thank my staff, who I love so very much. Any organization is only as strong as its weakest link, and I can say in all sincerity that we don't have one. And when I think about the things that I am grateful for every day, it is for the caliber of the people, each and every one of them that I work with. And there are not enough good things that I could say about any one of them to do justice to the work that they do to build our community, to make YBI what it is, and to make this place, to make Youngstown a better place to live and work. I'd also like to thank the entire community, all of our supporters and our portfolio companies. Being a part of this turnaround and having your support and the involvement of our community really is rewarding in ways that I can't even begin to express. I love this place that we call home, and I am so very grateful for everyone who has invested in us and in this community. I think we make a difference every day in the Mahoning Valley, in Northeast Ohio, and you are all very much a part of that change that's happening, and I am so very grateful to be a part of it. I'd also very much like to thank Jim himself for his work and his support. As most of you probably know, and if you don't, I'm sure you'll figure it out by the end of this. This is our second go around together. Jim was my very first boss. He hired me right out of college when I was a very young, fresh liberal arts major from Kent State University who had nothing on her resume to speak to why I would be a good employee or have any practical experience that would make me a valuable employee, but he saw something in me and was willing to give me a chance that really I don't think anybody else would have. When I say I had no resume, I had no resume. And his belief in me has made all of the difference in my life. His leadership at the Better Business Bureau on here has taught me some of the most valuable professional lessons and personal lessons that I've learned. He pays attention to every detail. He takes outstanding pride in, has a level of commitment to excellence in ways that I don't think most people begin to understand. He tells us every day in his actions and his words that no job is too large or too small for any member of the team. When we worked together at the Better Business Bureau, he would drive us all crazy by paying attention to the angles that we put stamps on envelopes, because everything, every detail in what we did told a story about our commitment to excellence and how much we cared about our organization and the work that we did. And we still see that here today on our campus, from how he cleans up the campus to how much time he dedicates to building out the network of his contacts so that he can better serve our portfolio companies. But mostly what I'd like to thank Jim for is for having that vision to see what others just simply can't and don't. When he talks about YBI, he uses a phrase that I've captured and use now, that YBI has helped to dispel our disbelief in ourselves, the Mahoning Valley's disbelief that we can develop a world-class software here, that we can host a manufacturing institute or be recognized as the #1 university-affiliated incubator in the world. Jim believed when others did not, and for that, we owe him a debt of gratitude. He reminds me of a quote by Miguel de Cervantes, the author of Don Quixote, the story about tilting at windmills. In order to attain the impossible, one must attempt the absurd. And he has done that over and over again and shown us over and over again what we can be and that we can be better and do better and accomplish great things. And for that, we all thank you. So in wrapping up, for me, this change is not an evolution. This change is an evolution, not a revolution. I just screwed up that quote pretty badly, I'm sorry. Jim and I have worked very well together for 15 years, and now the universe has just finally organized itself in a way that it was meant to be. Miss Bossy Pants is finally in charge. From here, we just continue to do what we do. We continue to build out world-class programs to support entrepreneurship. We find more ways to implement the additive manufacturing cluster program in Northeast Ohio. We implement our investment fund to attract and grow new technology companies here in the Mahoning Valley. And we develop new programs to leverage our relationships with America Makes and to promote economic development in the region. As Benjamin Franklin said, when you're finished changing, you are finished. And it is not my intention to ever be finished. The work will always continue as long as there are companies to build, technology to implement, and a world to make a better place. So with that, I'd like to introduce Jim. Not that he needs introduced, but I'd like to at least try to introduce him.
Well, at least we're at this. Thank you, Barb. So the Jim Cossler and Barb Ewing Garage Band, as we call it, we've been on tour a lot longer than you mentioned, almost 30 years. Which, when you think about that's longer than some of the people we work with have been alive. Brittany Housel, Corey Patrick. It started in 1989 at the Better Business Bureau when Barb came right out of Kent State University, and I saw it. I knew she was going to be awesome, and she was. We went on to work together at the Youngstown Warren Regional Chamber of Commerce when they hired me first, and I begged them to hire Barb, and they did. Now, Barb very, very foolishly left me for a while to go to work for her favorite boss ever. She loves to throw that in my face, Tim Ryan. where she served very, very capably and served this community so well as Tim's economic development director. But Barb eventually did see the foolishness of her ways, and our band kind of started our reunion tour when she joined us at YBI in 2011 as our amazingly talented chief operating officer. Much that we've accomplished in these last 6 years has been under Barb's leadership, and we should all be so thankful for that. But YBI's had an amazing journey over the years, as well as Barb and Jim both mentioned. You know, we took this long abandoned furniture store when nobody believed, or almost no one believed, and set out on a journey to build this modern 5-building campus that you see today. When almost no one believed, when the disbelief was so rampant in Youngstown, we began our work to launch the fastest growing software company in the country in Youngstown, Ohio. And when almost no one believed, we set the groundwork to attract a $70 million innovation center America Makes in competition with the rest of the country to locate it on this campus and to create our own venture capital fund. And way back, when almost no one believed, we set on a journey to become the #1 university-affiliated incubator in the entire world. I do think people believe us now because of Barb, because it's an incredible team we have working for YBI, and I also believe that they think our very best is yet to come. Barb Ewing will confidently lead us there. She is going to take YBI to heights never imagined. I know that. And I'm just going to sit back and be her biggest fan.